breaking, Alex Jones says Owen Shroyer is dead to me and that he needs to repent to Jesus for being demon-possessed. Now, do you want to give a bit of context? Because I actually don't. I think Owen Shroyer said that he wanted to go independent because he felt like he was free speech.
Shroyer's side of the story here, and this one's a tough one because we don't really have a lot of information on what's going on yet. We have a very narrow view. Shroyer appearing like he doesn't want to burn his bridges at InfoWars, understandably so. That's where he got big was through InfoWars, and also I don't think that it's good optics for him to be in some kind of perpetual war with Alex Jones, who is a pretty well-loved media head in his own right. Though the left would have you believe that's not true, it's obviously the case. So he was trying to kind of mitigate it and say that there was irreconcilable differences, that Jones wanted him to push out some messaging that he didn't like or would go off on him a little too much. And he finally had enough of it one day, so he stormed out. He called Alex and tried to mitigate the damage by saying, look, is it possible for us to maybe have a farewell week where we wish each other well? We leave under good terms with unity. And Jones said, no, that this is according to Shroyer's account. So, it's still vague on what the details are exactly for what happened there. So I'm not willing to take a side or come down on a side until more details come out. But let's hear what Jones had to say about it.
So, I mean, he took Snake to the next level. So, Owen Shroyer's dead to me. If he goes on air and repents to Jesus and apologizes for being demon-possessed or whatever it is he is, then I will forgive him. But he thinks that he would like absorb us as a launch pad and lie about us to make himself a victim so he could project himself and launch his own show when he cut and run and didn't even call me or didn't even say anything or didn't even say, hey, what can I do? He just cut and run and said, I'm done with you people. When Bloomberg and The Onion came in here.
Now pause it real quick. This does sound to me like a man who feels like they have been betrayed. Whether he was or was not factually, he definitely sounds like a person who feels like he was. Right? You don't get that pissed off if you don't kind of have that vibe that this person, and they've been working together for many years, right? And Jones has also many times come out and talked about how he's very wary about hiring people to InfoWars because of how many of them have utilized InfoWars as a launching pad for an external career and then shit all over them on their way out the door. I would just say that is something that most media companies are going to have to deal with, and there's not much that they can do about it ultimately. But this one seems to me immediately, from what I'm hearing from Jones, to be very personalized for sure.
Yeah, I mean, when you go on air like this and you say that this person's dead to you, it does look like somebody who really does feel like he's been betrayed. But I think that from Owen Shroyer's side of things, from what I saw, and like I said, I haven't watched, Owen did like a 5-hour live stream. I haven't watched that. I haven't had time. But I think from his perspective, he said something about that he was getting, his message was getting stifled a little bit. He wanted to talk about Israel and Zionism.
He wanted to go harder on Trump is what he said.
Harder on Trump. Oh, okay. And then Jones was telling him maybe not to say that.
Yeah. Now, I don't know. I don't remember Shroyer actually bringing up Zionism or any of that stuff, honestly.
No, I think you're right.
When I was listening to his response, I do know that many people had said to Harrison that that was the case. And Harrison said, well, then he would have fired me a long time ago because it's all I do is go after Zionism. So I'm not sure that that's the case. However, Jones is very pro-Trump because they have a personal relationship. My understanding is that they actually know each other and have background channels to each other for speaking. Now, whether that's true or not, I have no idea. But Jones seems to make it at least appear as though that is the case, and he is very pro-Trump. It would not surprise me if he said, look, on my network, you're not going to vilify this guy. He's my friend. He's the president. He needs our support. Makes sense to me, and he has every right to make that executive decision, by the way. He has every right to make that executive decision. So is it the case here, though, that there's more to the story than meets the eye? Of course. But anyway, keep going.
At this place, and we stood up to him and won thanks to your backing and God's providence. And the whole time, he was trying to cut and run. But then when he figured out that, oh, it's still there, he slunk back over, and I never even came to him and said, hey, it's good to have you back, man. Glad, blah, blah. Just, yeah, okay, sure. Just like that. People say, why would you swing around like that? Because I wasn't going to give him what he wanted. I knew what he was going to do, but I wanted to make sure. It's one thing to know what somebody's going to do, but it's another to wait till they do it. And he did it worse than I thought. So, Owen thinks his new franchise is going to be talking crap about me. He thinks his new franchise is going to be running down this fabled operation, this incredible crew and our supporters that are the InfoWar. Well, guess what, buddy? You can piss up. No matter what happens to this office of the name InfoWars, we're going to go on forever thanks to the listeners and the viewers. God bless you all.
Now, Owen Shroyer, I don't know him. I've never interacted with him, but he doesn't strike me as a snaky kind of guy. You know, he doesn't strike me as like a feminine, snaky kind of guy.
Well, this is the problem, right? Is that, and I sent Owen Shroyer a message this morning and said, like, hey, man, good luck in your new endeavors. I don't know what's going on. I don't care. It's not my business, but I did want to wish you well in your new endeavors. And he messaged me back and said, hey, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. And that was it. Just kind of giving a well wish on his way in his new career. It did appear to me like he was purposely taking the position that he would not be running down InfoWars and Alex Jones and did not want to have that be some staple of his career. So I'm not sure exactly what Alex is responding to there. Alex also says, hey, look, I knew that this was coming. I predicted it, but I went ahead and waited until he did it. Now, this could be cope for I'm a tactical genius when he actually didn't see it coming at all because he feels totally betrayed. Or it could actually be the case that the writing was on the wall. He knew it was going to happen, but he let events play out so that he could wash his hands of it while taking the least amount of the brunt. I guess that's up to people to decide. But the most important thing here to remember is we don't have all of the facts, and there's no reason to come down on one side or the other. You can like Owen Shroyer and like Alex Jones, and it's not a betrayal to either.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, it is too early to know really what's actually going on. But I think it does bring up sort of a bigger point about loyalty in this space. I mean, just me personally, I was maybe a little bit naive when I first got into the space, thinking that you could be friends with people and thinking that people would have your best interests in mind. Doesn't really work that way a lot of the time. I mean, the way that I sort of grew up was a little bit more sort of handshake deals, like sort of street rules, if you will. And sort of honor and loyalty was a very important thing. But in this world, in the content world, in the political world, it's like you turn your back and someone will just stab you. And it's a little bit foreign to me, but you do have to be careful of this sort of stuff. But how do you, like, it kind of brings up the question, how do you maintain relationships in a world where there's so many snakes?
You don't. You can't. I mean, you can't. So I've said this many times. There's many people who call me friends online who I'm not friends to at all. They call me that, but I'm not their friend. A friendship requires that you go through hardship together. I'll tell you how we become friends online. I'm going through some shit, some attacks that are bullshit, something like this, and you're standing up for me when you have something to risk doing it. Then I'm happy to call you my friend, right? But other than that, you're an acquaintance, which we do business. That's it. And the reason is because when push comes to shove, if there hasn't been any sort of entrenchment together with another person, when you're under assault or you're going through a tough time, that's not a friendship. That's an acquaintance. Friendships take trial by fire. And that's why so few men have so few friends. And that's okay. That's the way it ought to be.
Yeah, it's true. But do you think that this particular industry is particularly bad like that, especially when it comes to things like clout and attention and people looking out for their, and like, fair enough, people want to look out for their own reputations and stuff. And if you're ever even mildly radioactive, people don't want anything to do with you. It kind of does make sense, but a little bit of honor wouldn't go astray sometimes. I think I like to see like Myron Gaines, for example. One of the reasons why I respect Myron is because he sticks with his friend Fresh, even though his friend Fresh has done some really shit blunders, and he's not probably the most talented in the entire world, but he sticks with him and he's loyal to him, and I like that about him,
Yeah, but there's also loyal to a
Fuck, I
fault.
want to roast you so bad.
And you have to
be serious. Sorry.
you have to be careful about loyal to a fault too, right? Everything has a time and a place. Sometimes it's necessary to turn on a person because they have lost the plot to the point where they cannot be reconciled in any other way. Though I think that should only be relegated for the worst of the worst. Guys who have completely changed political alliances overnight, things like this, where that there's a serious problem. But honestly, Jake, the idea here is, you should probably go through some actual things with people before you start calling them friends. And this is a good lesson, not just in media, but in all forms of business. I think it's worse in media? Yes, because there's a lot more to gain. There's a lot more to gain from pile-ons. There's a lot more to gain from I sided with the right side at this moment than there is in a lot of other industries. Is it the worst industry? I'm not sure, but it's a bad one for that. That is for sure.
Well, I think that potentially maybe one of the reasons is because it's not face-to-face at all. It's much harder to snake somebody or to try and stab them in the back if it's face-to-face, because you actually have to have that personal engagement. But if it's just online, and if you never have to have in-person consequences for any of these things, then people can do as they please. They can do content with you in person one day and then the next day go and make a hit piece about you or a hit video about you.
And often do.
Yeah, and they're like, cowards will do that sort of thing. And people are pretty cowardly. And I think that this maybe just amplifies that or accentuates that.
Well, I think one way it does it in a worse way than that really kind of adds fuel to the fire that isn't present in most other industries is the drama baiters themselves. The people who will then go to various creators with out of context things the person they're angry at said or this or that really was not designed even to be an attack, but they cut it in such a way where it looks like one. That creator then overreacts to whatever that was. And now suddenly you have a war on your hands that never even needed to be there in the first place if you'd taken 5 seconds to even vet what was said. But you're going to double down, right? That's what people do. They double down. And so, in many ways, there's kind of like these chat drama frogs who will leap from chat to stir up as much shit as possible. They thrive on that. So in some ways, there's other elements here that are worse than just the idea of right place, right time to join a pile-on.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked a lot of jobs in my life, done all sorts of, I've done corporate, I've done personal training, I've worked in for charities, I've done hard labor as well. And I've never experienced this, but with the content world, I just feel like it's a little bit different. I've never really experienced that sort of thing to the degree. And I think unless you're a content creator, unless you see some of the snakery that goes on, then
well, you still haven't experienced it to the degree that you will.
Yeah, I know.
And
but
so
I mean, seeing what people do to you, for example, is kind of what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it comes with the territory. You have to have a thick skin. But in this case, I don't need to fall on anybody's side in the Shroyer-Jones war that may be easily reconciled next week for all we know. And we don't have enough insights to make a judgment call. Many other people are going to rush to do that because they want to say, oh, I called it, I was on the right side early. And if they weren't, they'll just bury it. It's a very disingenuous way to do content. And it's why many content creators have such an early shelf life.
True.